Hi. Um, I think we have a community board member or two joining us on Zoom as well. I'm not sure if we'll get in-person attendance today. But my name is Barry Weinberg and I chair the strategic planning committee for the board. I don't know if we want to go around and introduce ourselves. Samantha Goldberg, do you want to start?
Sure. My name is Samantha. I'm a current student at Columbia University and I live in Morningside Heights. So yeah, very excited to be here.
Great, happy you're here. Are you with the Spectator, or are you just here as a individual interested?
I'm here as a spectator.
But you're not from the Spectator.
Oh, no, not from the Spectator. Sorry. I thought you meant like, am I like just a spectator? Yes. No, I'm just here because I'm interested.
Happy to have you. Rebecca Sklar, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm also a Columbia student. Actually, I think me and Samantha and Anna are all Columbia students in the same class, and and I'm also just here to watch and to learn more. This is my community board. So,
Wonderful.
hi.
What's the class, by the way?
It's a class on social work advocacy.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So thanks for letting us listen in.
Yeah, well, it might be a short meeting today, but I'll introduce the committee kind of in a moment here. Anna, do you want to go next?
Hi, yep. Rebecca said it best. I am also a Columbia student, here to observe and learn some more about my community board because I live in Morningside Heights.
Great. And Thomas Stewart, do you want to go last?
Hello, yes, I'm Thomas Stewart. I'm also a student at Columbia. I'm here representing the Columbia Daily Spectator. So yeah, I'm just kind of observing for today.
Great. Okay, so as I mentioned, my name is Barry Weinberg. I serve as first vice chair of the community board. And I recently became chair of the strategic planning committee last year, when its former chair, Victor Edwards, was elected to be our chair. So the strategic planning committee is sort of an unusual committee for the board in that it is not a standing committee, it's an ad hoc committee. Our membership is not fixed, but instead various standing committees of the board send representatives to this committee. And the main focus of the topic is the Columbia Community Benefits Agreement that arose from the Manhattanville campus expansion. And recently, we've also been taking a closer look at the budget and the city's budget and how it impacts our neighborhood and how we can impact it. Shanika, do you want to introduce yourself? We're just going around. We can't hear you yet, though. You're muted.
You would think I know how to use this by now. I'm Shanika Wilson. I'm the co-chair of the Youth Education and Libraries Committee. That's it. That's all for now. I'm excited to talk about, well, the updates, hopefully, for SEA in Columbia. Yeah. All right. Hi, everybody. Good evening.
And Laquita has joined us. Laquita, do you want to introduce yourself? Laquita? You're muted, though.
There I am, sorry. Yes, hi, everyone. Laquita Henry, co-chair Health and Environment.
All right. So we will get started then. I will call the meeting to order or attention at 6:36 p.m. Does anyone want to add anything to the agenda Let's see if I can. I don't know if anyone has it pulled up, from the announcement. Do we have it on this computer? That'd be great. The first item, will be a review of our preliminary budget letter, followed by discussions about FYEP and potential senior employment opportunities. And then, several items on the community benefits agreement, the art space, this Columbia Secondary School, one train elevators, and, anything else anyone wants to address. And Madison is pulling it up here, but, were there any items not mentioned that, that someone would like to talk about?
I don't have the agenda in front of me, Barry, but I know Edwin was talking about TOTUS, the SOTOS, and how there are like 2,000 complaints that have amassed at this point, and still no real solution to the noise issue that may or may not fit in strategic planning.
But touch on it. All right, so in the absence of new agenda items, I'll dive right in. Attached to our. Hold on a second. Attached to our agenda, oh, and here's Michael. Was the response letter that the community board wrote to the mayor's preliminary budget. And so in it, we outlined a number of items that we were dissatisfied with or wanted to continue to support funding. Many of which will be familiar to folks who were involved in putting together the statement of district needs back in October. But the letter has actually gotten some good feedback, it sounds like, which is what Shanika, I think, was referring to. So I am going to take a moment to pause now and just stop and see if anyone had any questions or topics they wanted to talk about from the letter. It's kind of a long letter, so I won't go through all of it. But I think it was helpful this year that we kind of took a fresh look at the format of the letter, and we really actually did do it almost from scratch compared to prior years. So it's been thoroughly refreshed this year. No, I think it's okay. For the folks who are on from Columbia, did you all get the attachments in the announcement for this meeting?
No, actually. Would it be possible to put them in the chat, the Zoom chat?
Is it possible? Yeah.
If it's not, then it's okay.
I'm not sure I've added files to a Zoom chat before, but there's a first time for everything.
Ah.
So give us just a moment and we will drop them in. But
Thank you so much.
You got it?
Okay.
Oh, if you stop sharing. Yeah, there we go. So I think, as Shanika had kind of alluded to, one of the most exciting developments from this is that we actually got, or that Deirdre, Shanika's co-chair for youth education and libraries, got someone from the Department of Education or the School Construction Authority who reached out and said that they had read our letter, particularly the segment about Columbia Secondary School for Math, Science, and Engineering. And they wanted to set up a meeting to talk about our need for a new high school facility in the neighborhood. So Shanika, I don't know if you had any,
Dates? Oh, I think it's a good
updates.
light. Okay. Not yet. So apparently Deirdre reached out to, I guess, the SEA when you guys were doing the budgeting request and trying to follow up with the agency for more information, how it will say. And she spoke with one fellow, I forgot his name. Anyway, he said he knew about it and he would give her a call back. And he sounded very interested, but it took him a while to kind of follow up. However, he did finally follow up with the names of who we need to reach out to. And they're willing to meet if we can get Columbia to the table. So that's it for now. I don't have any other updates, but it's a good update. It's like the best update we've had in a long time. What's that?
I don't, sorry, I don't think we can,
Yeah, I was
Do-
looking at it too. I can't click on it.
yeah, I'm not sure we can do a,
Oh.
You could just drop your email and
yeah,
I'll forward it to you.
if you put your emails in the chat, we can forward you the announcement email. that
Thank
has-
you. That'd be great.
But so that's exciting, and for context, for those who are not aware, in the community benefits agreement, Columbia had committed to provide land for a new high school either in the Manhattanville campus development area or immediately adjacent. And the word that at the time of negotiation, everybody understood it to mean the McDonald's site on the southwest corner of Broadway and West 125th Street.
Which is now being turned into what?
University housing, I believe.
Okay.
At one point, there was a proposal for a hotel. And so we are, we were obviously upset when in the Bloomberg administration, the Department of Education rejected the offer of such land, and doing so under the excuse that the district in which the land existed, Community Education Council District 5, did not need any additional seats according to the School Construction Authority's demographics. However, the school that needs the facility serves districts 3, 4, 5, and 6, some of which do have demonstrated need for seats, and also is currently housed in a building that was built for elementary schoolers and thus is woefully inadequate. And we're going to this in our letter about how kids, are having their IEP sessions in janitor's closets.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they're changing in the stairwells for gym, lunch at 10 a.m. and all of this insane stuff. So the fact that for the first time in a decade, we are having some interest from the Department of Education and the School Construction Authority is a welcome development.
Yeah. And may I add really quickly that there's holes in the ceiling. There's one gym that they're forced to share with 2 other schools. There's one cafeteria that they're sharing with one other school. There are 3 schools total in this building. Children start their lunch at 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. So imagine you get to school at 9 and you have lunch at 10 and have to remain hungry until 3. It's obnoxious. And you mentioned the elementary school thing. I just wanted to point that out and make sure that everybody was kind of aware.
Yes. And so we had met with superintendents at the Department of Education for facilities, I think back in 2020, where, they keep repeating this line that District 5 does not need extra seats. And we keep telling them it's not a District 5 school, it's a school that serves 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we are hopeful, but at the very least, we know that somebody read our letter. Which we don't always get confirmation of.
We've just now got to bring Columbia to the table, which they've been reluctant to do.
Yes, well, we're hopeful that, under the new president at Columbia, we can have some, more constructive dialogue than in the past. I think if there were any other notes from the budget. Did anyone get a chance to testify at any of the city council hearings? I know youth education libraries was Monday, or education committee was Monday, whatever it's called.
Yeah, it was the education committee budget hearing. And no, I was not able to participate. I was like, it was really slammed at work. And by the time I got an opportunity to try to do it, it was almost over. So I didn't even hear the entire thing, but Shauna Bray was there. So hopefully we get an update.
Okay, Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Michael Iglesias. I'm a current Columbia University student. I go to the law school. And I sit on this committee. And yeah.
Great, and Victor, did I see that you joined us?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Victor Edwards, Chair of the Board. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Chair.
Thank you.
Without any other items from the budget letter, the next item on the agenda is an update regarding the summer youth employment program. And I did reach out and get a very brief update from Ziad Ramadan, the executive director of the West Harlem Development Corporation, that they are planning again to partner with the Harlem Boys and Girls Club to provide SYEP kind of enrichment slots this summer. Although he said that they would have more details for us in April. And I know that Pat Walter Johnson is getting on probably a little late tonight. And so if she does join, it's possible she may have more details for us then. There are not any planned senior employment opportunities for the summer. I know that folks were very much appreciative of that program when it existed. The indication from the Development Corporation has been that they want to affect a wider number of seniors, and so they have been doing these senior enrichment trips to the theater and to see shows, and that they are doing that in place of the senior employment. So, there are other non-West Harlem specific programs in the city, like Silver Corps and the Older Adult Employment Program, but they are not kind of the same summer activities that were available in through the West Harlem Development Corporation. Does anyone have any notes or thoughts on either the summer youth employment program or the seniors decision?
Quick question, Barry.
Mhm.
Do you know if there will be any other senior employment by any other CBOs?
So I do not. The two that I know of are Silver Corps, which is run through AmeriCorps, and then the Civic
Okay.
Engaged Employment Service, which I knew about when it was called Reserve, which is for people aged 50 and older for part-time positions. But they're not like summer positions, they're ongoing positions.
Okay.
Those are like 10 to 20 hours a week and pay minimum wage.
All right, just curious. I do know some seniors that were looking forward to the program, so just curious. Thank you.
Yes. So if they are interested, though, reserve or reserve might be something that they would be interested in. Okay. Old business, art space. Victor?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna mention to Shanika that she might want to also check with senior action committee to see if they have any leads on senior jobs as well, just in case they have something that's come through their committee. Might be a good idea. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Victor, do we have any new developments on the art space provisions in the CBA?
The latest thing, I spoke with Lofton late last week. There's another building that's being considered. He could not disclose at that time what it was, but he said he thinks we'd be pleased with it. I told him I wasn't pleased with the delay, but maybe I'll be pleased with the building. So no to that answer. You know, Floriditas we turned down initially because the space needed a lot of renovation, a lot of work. We were looking for something more centrally located in the area. So nothing as of this date. I will be speaking with him this week, hopefully to get an update. We had asked for the church on 147, 148 and Broadway, but they said that's not available because that was an open space. You wouldn't have to do much renovation and it's kind of centrally located. So I'll keep you up to date with that as I hear this week, hopefully something.
Okay, it might make sense for Tina and Daria and you and maybe Michael to sit down with Columbia to talk about the permanent art space too. Because that, I mean,
That
that
has
is,
come up in our meetings, just to make sure that's still on the table. We don't want to think that this temporary space is it. But that's, you know, we could do that again just to make sure, because that kicks into play with the second, I forgot the exact, it's not the next iteration, it's the one after that.
it's the next building to get a TCO would trigger it. Because I
Okay,
think all of the phase one buildings have been developed. So presumably the next building is gonna be on Broadway and 130th? You know,
yeah, right.
right to the north of the, no, of the Jerome L. Green building, I guess, which is north of the Forum. It goes Forum, Jerome L. Green, and then I think it's a vacant lot now, with like grass. I forget if
Yeah.
that's supposed to be International Public Affairs or whatever building they're gonna put there. Okay, we should definitely keep the conversation going.
Sure, for sure.
And then in terms of the 125th Street station, I did discuss with Lofton the other week, and he informed me that so Columbia did a study. They modified their engineering study that was looking at how to widen the escalators, which is in the community benefits agreement.
Right.
And they had that consultant then also look at how they could get elevators into the station. And the consultant came up, I think, with like 3 options. And both Columbia and MTA agree on which of the options is best. And so now I think they are in the process of negotiating how Columbia and the MTA can work together to provide an elevator at the station in addition to the escalator improvements.
Okay.
But they have not reached an agreement yet. So nothing is set in stone. But I think, the hiring of their new chief operating officer has helped things. And there is an upcoming meeting of kind of the so-called elevator lobby of the MTA in Columbia and some of the local landowners and us and the electeds. So I think that's April 17th. And so with any luck, there will be some news from Columbia and the MTA at that meeting.
Barry,
Uh-huh.
let me ask you, what happened to the building that was the Rialto Theater? I think it was called Rialto Theater. It was a movie theater, pretty large on Broadway, like 147th or 8th. It probably was already torn down and made into something, but I was wondering if you knew,
That
because
theater
if
is,
not,
that theater is still there, Laquita. That's one of the options we had asked Columbia about, that theater there. But they turned us down on that theater.
yeah, because that sounds like that would be great space.
That's
Yes,
the 99-cent store?
yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And what do they want to do with it? Did they say, or they just
did
don't
not-
want to?
They didn't want to give it to us. They didn't say what the plans were for it, but it would have been a great space, It was a theater,
Yeah.
99-cent store. Well, that's the same block with the church that I was speaking about that had a temporary space that's now moved into the permanent space. They had nice space on the corner that would have been appropriate as well, but not on the table.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I also want to just address, because we have some new folks on the line and, people may have seen things out in the wild on the web. There's a group called Save Harlem, but it's not Save Harlem Now, which is a preservation group. It's a group that's affiliated with the Interchurch or Interfaith Council on Housing. And they've been having meetings, I think, at First Corinthians Baptist Church or Mount Olivet Baptist Church. Yeah. And so they have been spreading this idea that Columbia has the right to acquire additional property along Broadway up to like 165th Street using eminent domain. And I want to just make clear that that is not true. Only the state and its creations can use eminent domain. So what happened at Manhattanville was the Empire State Development Corporation, which is a creation of New York State, used eminent domain and then conveyed the property to Columbia. But the only properties along Broadway that Columbia owns are the Manhattanville campus area from 125th to 133rd, and also some of the buildings on Broadway up to from 133rd to 134th on the east side. And the block along Broadway that Victor is mentioning between, I think, 147th and 148th, where the church is and the Rialto is, that site is used or has been used to relocate an HDFC that was torn down in the Manhattanville expansion, and the church, which was previously in Manhattanville, was relocated to that site. But the Save Harlem people arrived at this number because I think they took the 6 million square feet of building space that was going to be built in Manhattanville, and then they looked at like lot space, so like on the ground as opposed to like each floor. So that is misinformation, and I know I saw it repeated in a Columbia Spectator op-ed recently, and I just wanted to clear that up. And they have also been talking about Harlem on the Hudson, which was a development proposal by the Harlem Urban Development Corporation several decades ago to put a casino and a hotel and, theater district along the 12th Avenue waterfront, that Community Board 9 and We Act opposed and actually developed an alternative plan too that resulted in the West Harlem Piers Park. And, you know, we didn't envision the Columbia expansion because this plan was developed in the 90s, but. So I just want to clarify that, you know, this board has taken a position many years ago that we did not want Harlem on the Hudson. And we in fact developed our own plan with We Act. And, you know, just be skeptical of things you read online without proper citation. But related to that, Columbia, as I think most folks know, did acquire the former Fairway properties along 12th Avenue. And I know we kind of gave updates about this as it was happening. And I think we even had Wakefern present at a community board meeting. But the sequence of events was that Fairway, the company, went bankrupt in 2020. Another supermarket chain called Wakefern bought many of the Fairway stores out of bankruptcy and operates them as Fairways still, which is why you still have Fairways in the Upper West Side, the Upper East Side, wherever. They had originally planned to keep the Harlem Fairway on 12th Avenue open until they discovered that Fairway, the company, did not own the land under that site. The family that had founded Fairway actually owned the land. And so they did acquire the other parcels around that area, including importantly the parking lot, in order to prevent someone from opening a supermarket at the site owned by the family. Because you can't really have a supermarket at that site without a parking lot. Like, that is so far out of the way pedestrian wise that you need the car traffic to balance it. And it's my understanding that then the sites went on the market and Amazon planned to open a fulfillment warehouse on that site. And Columbia, rather than see a grody Amazon warehouse open next to their multi-billion-dollar new campus, chose to instead buy the land to prevent that from happening. Throughout this process, when Columbia purchased the land, you know, the community board communicated to Columbia that the overwhelming sentiment in the community was a desire to have another good, high quality, affordable supermarket there that would also contribute to local employment in the same way that Fairway did. And Columbia put out a request for proposals last year or the year before to lease the site to a supermarket. So as of yet, they have not found a supermarket willing to lease the site and then do the renovations necessary to make it a supermarket, but that is still the envisioned plan for the site. So that is the Fairway update. And I bring that up also because that's been kind of chattered about. And recently someone said that Columbia had evicted Fairway, which we all know is not true because that Fairway closed before Columbia bought, like 2 or 3 years before Columbia bought the land. So again, it pays to get the facts straight, and we should always highly scrutinize anything involving Columbia University in real estate, but we should do so from a place of facts. Welcome, Pat.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for
Good
joining.
evening, everyone. Yeah, I was late because of the board interview.
Yes, I hope it went well. Victor.
Quick statement and question. I know earlier last year, we heard from an organization that wanted to put a Ferris wheel and not a ferry, unfortunately, sightseeing
Both.
boats down there. I have not heard anything about that group since then. Have you heard anything, Barry? For those who are listening, they wanted to put a Ferris wheel at Harlem Piers at 125th Street, and they wanted to have some type of sightseeing boat that would go back and forth along the Hudson from there as well. So just to put that out there as well, since we were talking about the piers.
Did they present to anyone? Like
They
the
didn't.
committee?
Not that I know of. They didn't present to, no, they did not. That was one of my sore spots with them, and one of the people that's part of that is a former board member, either 10 or 11.
Oh, 11, yeah.
I said, how could you do that without coming to the board? You know the process. So I don't know if that was intentionally to go around us or what, but haven't heard anything else since then. And we had issues with, parking and things of that nature, and just not coming to us to get, our ideas on it. So just putting it out there for those on the line.
Yeah, I think we should try to get a reso on the record on that as soon as possible. So maybe we could ask Economic Development in West Harlem Piers to take it up at their next meeting and try to invite the proposers and say, like, this is not how this should go, by the way, you should come to us, but like, and again, the community board created a plan for the 12th Avenue corridor, and we had the plan for the waste transfer station, marine transfer station, that we developed through this very labor-intensive, multi-year long, community-driven planning process in collaboration with We Act. And then we voted on it. And so, have you read that? Do you understand how does this fit with that plan, or how does that conflict with the plan? You can't just go around saying you're gonna build a Ferris wheel. So I think we should ask the committee to take it up, and I will. I will send that email tonight to Marita and Joyce.
All right.
Another idea, I don't know if this building is in play with Columbia or how it would work, or even if it could, but once Emma Bowen moves on 135th Street into that building, I'm not sure who that building goes back to, or if it remains empty and available. And that might be something to investigate. But again, it's on 135th Street. I don't know the number right now. It's a city, there are city agencies in it. And then I guess sometime later this year, Emma Bowen moves into it for about 3 years. So again, it might be a building that becomes in play either for, I guess, Columbia, or we need to see if there's something that could be negotiated there. But that also would be great for renovation and space for particularly West Harlem Arts Alliance. But again, I don't know about that building, who owns it, and I know, or how wide Columbia's footprint goes in that area.
Luquita, that building is owned by a company called DuPont Associates, Inc., which appears to be kind of a large real estate company in the city. And the former city agencies, I remember HRA being there. And I don't think they operate there anymore. And if you recall, we had a school that is currently co-located in the school building on 127th in Amsterdam, right next to Manhattanville houses.
Right, 127.
Is it the Global Leaders Academy or the Young Leaders Academy?
It should be next to the school.
Yes, next to the Shelburne Arms School.
I know it as RLA, but it's on Florida. I know it as RLA, but it's probably changed.
Yeah, it's got another name, but they were looking to move into that HRA building, which is privately owned. It's not owned by the city. And we, I think, gave them a letter of support for it. But yeah, that's a thought, but it is not owned by Columbia and it's not owned by the city. It's privately owned, it looks like.
It'll be interesting to do some more investigative work because those 3 years will go pretty quickly. But you know, I don't.
That's optimistic. So it's R7A zoning. So I think that's like a 80 to 90 foot height cap, so like 7 to 9 stories. So even if they tore it down and wanted to develop it, I guess it's a big footprint though. It's a big site. That building is 43,000, that lot is 43,000, oh no, 16,000 square feet. The building is 43,000 square feet, but the lot is 16,000 square feet. So you could get a really decent sized apartment building there if this owner wanted to tear it down and develop it. Not very big compared to 3333 across the street, but you know, decently sized nonetheless. But that's a good flag. And I wonder how yeah, that's odd. We should look more into DuPont Associates.
I think it's an opportunity and there's little time. But someone's gonna have dibs on it and within a couple of years, if not already.
Yes, the issue there is it's privately owned. It's not a Columbia building. If it was a Columbia building, we could speak to them about making it available for the West Harlem Arts Alliance. They're not gonna pay or rent to do that. You know, they're only gonna put that organization in the building they already own. But that would have been a great space, you know, for that. You know, centrally located right there, 135th from Broadway would be great.
Right. It's not, so so there on 135th Street, there's the pediatrics place on the corner, right, on the southeast corner.
Right.
And then if you go down towards Amsterdam, one building, you've got the Charles B. Rangel Health Clinic with the red awning. And then the next door down from that, yeah, the old HRA, Human Resources Administration building where you do food stamps, you get your NYC ID, you had a lot of different benefits offices operating out of there. And now I think all of those are closed. So yeah, we should keep an eye on that actually. But yes, duly noted, Laquita, about the, you know, time period on the Emma Bowen Center, although again, they're in court, not the Emma Bowen, but Health and Hospitals Corporation in the city.
Heritages, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see how long that lawsuit takes, because the judge just recused herself, so they gotta find a whole new judge now. Okay. Are there any other provisions of the community benefits agreement that anyone wanted to talk about? And Pat, we had touched on SYEP earlier. And you know, I passed along the message from Ziad today that they're gonna be working again with Harlem Boys and Girls Club, and they are gonna have more information in April. Do you want to add anything to that?
Are you asking me if I want to add more? No, I saw your email and I thank you for including me in it. I don't have anything more to add, but as more information becomes available, I'll be happy to share it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that, I think the only other piece of update I would have on the development corp itself is that I think next year is the last year that they're going to be receiving financial funding from Columbia under the benefits agreement, outside of the Affordable Housing Fund, which they still owe 10 million on, you know, dependent on completion of certain buildings. I think I have that right. I don't want to mess it up, but I think next year is the last year of funding.
Right, this is the last year, yes.
Oh, this is the last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, any other old business or new business that anyone wants to bring up? The only thing I would add is in the vein of disconnected youth, which was a provision in the CBA. Shanika had suggested we do a big kind of event to bring all of the schools together and talk about getting programs like arts and music into the schools. You mentioned that Saturday.
Yeah, that's one of, after Saturday now, I've kind of pivoted though. But so it's either going to be a forum style like it was Saturday, but with the interest of getting teachers and principals and decision makers from schools, maybe CEC members, to come out and learn about all these different organizations that are available to go into these schools, like education through music and reading program, etc. Because the number one thing that we hear at YEL is that, oh, we have a program, but we need to get into more schools. So we want to help. And obviously, we keep hearing like the same 5 schools over and over and over again. And so I feel like there's other schools that could benefit from these programs that maybe they're not taking advantage of them, or maybe they have programs that I haven't heard of yet. So that's a little research, but so that's one. And then Laquita, we talked about having workshops, because the workshops that were supposed to happen Saturday did not happen. We didn't have that kind of a turnout. The event overall was really great, but the workshop portion of it just kind of fizzled. And so DYCD is hosting a series of, well, they're not hosting, they will help sponsor community like programs for, I think it says April through June. There's a session that I've signed up to learn more about how we at MCB9 could work with DYCD to maybe host something like that. So give me a second and I'll have something more detail for you after we speak with DYCD and see what that process is. I brought it up to Deirdre today, so she's down, and you know, we'll figure it out obviously soon, because we have to use our money by the end of the year if we can.
Yes, our discretionary funding.
Yes.
Did you have anything?
No, I just want to say thank you to the Columbia reps that wanted to attend this meeting today. I think it's important to continue a healthy dialogue as it pertains to this agreement. And yes, Barry, as you mentioned before, I can help bring up that issue with the ferries. But if you know, Victor, I think Victor brought it up. If you could send detailed information about it, that way we can discuss it or read about it prior to writing a resolution next week.
Yes, I'm gonna text you something now, and then I'm gonna send you an email later with more details. Any other business? Old or new? Motion to adjourn would be in order then.
All right, so moved.
Second.
All right, meeting is adjourned at 7:22 PM. Thank you for keeping us succinct.